Big good afternoon to all our viewers and everyone who's joining us today. My name is Sean Yao, and I would like to welcome you to eNDUSTRY. That's quite a new word. This is an online forum for eHealth by PLDT Enterprise, Smart, and ePLDT. So first off, I'd just like to acknowledge our virtual live audience on the other side of the screen. Big hello to all of you over there. All right, hi guys, nice to see you. And of course, big hello also to those tuned in via PLDT Enterprises YouTube channel. So this afternoon, we will be kicking off PLDT Enterprises series of industry-specific forum or fora, which aim to discuss first-hand solutions for specific industries and will be demonstrated by technology and key leaders. So we're more than excited today because for the first leg, we will be delving on PLDT Enterprises suite of solutions for eHealth. And with this, we will be highlighting the information and evolution of the eHealth industry as we enter the new chapter of business. So how the sector adapted to the current technologies and their accelerated digital transformations that are necessary to remain relevant and afloat, to thrive and succeed in these changing times. So let's all get ready for today's program as we encourage businesses to be bold, brave, and relentless in pursuing growth, regardless of challenges that they may be facing in the eHealth industry, of course, through technology. So to our live audience and viewers, you're so lucky to be joining us here today because we will be giving away brand new tablets and free website landing pages and customization when you participate in our Q&A session in just a little bit. So all you have to do is accomplish the digital form, which will be posted via our chat box, and stay tuned for that. At this point, I'd like to officially start the program. And here to present a preview or a review of what hospitals encountered in 2020 and what the healthcare sector has to look forward to this year, let's all welcome on screen President of the Private Hospitals Association of the Philippines, or PHAPI, Dr. Jose Rene de Grana. Hi, Dr. Rene.
Hi. Okay. Distinguished speakers and guests in the healthcare and telecommunication industry, my colleagues and members of the Private Hospitals Association of the Philippines, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. The year 2020 has brought a lot of challenges to everybody, and the hospitals are not an exception. Being in operation 24/7, even during the pandemic, the hospitals required a lot of facilities in order to operate. The lockdown has slowed down much of its functions, but as a hospital, we cannot just stop and wait. We have to find ways and means to communicate with our staff, our doctors, and our patients in order to be able to impart at least the basic or the important aspects of healthcare delivery. This has brought into the forefront the importance of telecommunication, telemedicine in particular, or virtual communication medium. The word tele came from the Greek word tele, meaning far off. Through these virtual methods of interaction, the hospital was able to impart its functions, its different modalities of healthcare delivery, because face-to-face contact or even physically attending or appearing at the hospital has become somewhat forbidden or not allowed unless during an emergency. Interaction, therefore, was made possible through a stable and reliable communication line, wireless communication, and most importantly, the internet. Without the internet and wireless transmission of information, it would have been very impossible to continue the different healthcare delivery methodologies without sacrificing the health of the providers and their patients and exposing a lot to the spread of infection. The wireless communication technology had afforded the transfer and transmission not only of voice, but data that made possible the treatment of a lot of ailments without necessarily exposing people to the dangers of contamination. Telemedicine, which is a remote means of diagnosis and treatment of disease through telecommunication technology, has helped a lot in the control of illnesses and prolonging the life of patients through constant consultation. And this has lowered the morbidity somehow. Although nothing can replace a face-to-face or a hands-on consultation, in the initial stages of the pandemic when we were caught unaware and unprepared, this has helped a lot in ensuring the continuity of treatment, and this has contained momentarily the spread of the disease. Although very limited, telemedicine consultation has at least helped people who cannot afford to go out, like the elderly, the very young, and the debilitated. The lockdown was done primarily to contain the disease, since its spread is made through close or direct contacts with infected persons. So this new technology has done a lot in assuring that the spread of the disease is somewhat or somehow controlled and abated. The healthcare delivery system made extensive use of these technologies and innovations at the start of the pandemic when there were confusion, uncertainty, and apprehension. People have to communicate but have to keep their distance. Doctors need to see patients but need to be afar or have to be protected with shields or barriers to prevent direct contamination. The Internet of Things using multiple technologies has made possible interactions and communication in what was supposed to be a very difficult situation where one needs to communicate but has to be detached or distanced. Right now, there are a lot of changes in the healthcare industry because of innovations which we only previously dreamed of. But now it is already being done and is in existence. Right now we have CCTVs, electronic medical records, digital stethoscopes, artificial intelligence-powered applications, making use of wireless technology like Bluetooth, RFID, Internet, and many more. We have remote asthma monitors, glucose monitors, ECG being done remotely. In other hospitals, they already use tablets instead of charts. Doctors making rounds using their iPads and tablets, making schedules through SMS and internet, while nurses are following the orders in their stations by remotely controlling the giving of medications and monitoring the patient's vital signs through their monitors. Everything can almost be done remotely. Newborns are fitted with RFID devices that gives an alarm whenever they are removed from the immediate vicinity. Staff can be monitored where they are situated and check number of times they have passed a certain area. There is no more need for biometrics for taking your workplace attendance. One can use the RFID and be noted once you have passed the gates or certain areas of the hospital. We can track movements of anybody using GPS in real time, Indeed, we have come a long way on this new era of telecommunications, and we are quite thankful. In summary, the past year or so gave us the importance of connectivity despite the barriers of distance and remoteness. The existence of telecommunication technology has helped a lot during the lockdown, and our continuous search in providing remote or diminished face-to-face contact in order to prevent the disease is really a necessity. And that is where communication entities like PLDT and SMART, with all its innovative technologies, are very much needed so we can continue to fight the new challenges and promote health and well-being of our constituents. This is a challenge to these service providers or telcos to be good, efficient, stable, and reliable because a lot of lives depend on them. Good afternoon, and thank you for patiently listening.
All right, thank you so much for that, Dr. Degrano. That presentation was so very insightful. I actually felt that indeed the healthcare industry is going through a massive shift, especially now that it is in the spotlight. Without further ado, to share major trends in the healthcare industry versus its current state, let us all welcome the Vice President and Corporate Relationship Management Head of PLDT Enterprise, Mr. Luigi Casas. Hello, Luigi. Good afternoon.
Hi, Sean. Good afternoon, everybody. Hello. Hello to our live viewers and our virtual audience. And thanks again for joining our industry online forum. Thank you also to Dr. Degrano for the latest updates on the state of the hospitals and what you're looking forward to in 2021. I know we have representatives in the healthcare industry today joining us in the form of doctors, nurses, and frontliners. And I want to take this time on behalf of PLDT Enterprise to thank you all for the support since the start of this pandemic. If you think about it, we're actually almost at the 1-year mark since our initial ECQ. And I want to take this time again to thank you for your grit and determination for fighting this virus. And we continue to pray for your health and safety. So the whole world has really been affected by COVID-19. All economies and industries affected, with the healthcare industry taking one of the biggest blows. We have seen in the tales of horror straight from the doctors and nurses across the globe, and it's evident that clear and efficient solutions are needed. But before we get there, I'd like to share with you some major trends in healthcare. So number one is technology is really at the forefront of revolutionizing the industry. The use of telemedicine and virtual care, as Dr. Degrano mentioned previously, from both patients and healthcare providers has significantly increased. And artificial intelligence is now being used to quicken drug discovery in the face of an immediate need for the COVID-19 vaccine. So this highlights a crucial role that technological innovation plays in a traditionally risk-averse industry and one that is subject to the strictest of regulations. Tech giants such as Amazon and Google will continue to invest heavily in biomarkers and telemedicine and are now flexing their muscles into health tech. The announcement of Amazon Pharmacy is a prime example of this. So next is that COVID-19 has led to better access to virtual care. Due to the strict no contact policies, government and office shutdowns, the demand for telemedicine solutions has not only increased, but it was made easier and more accessible to the general public during the pandemic. Regulations on telemedicine was adapted globally to make up for demand, and reliability on internet service providers became a priority as patients and doctors needed secure connections to discuss important healthcare matters. Third is wearable tech and IoT solutions will offer a wealth of opportunities. Digital biomarkers and wearable devices have come into the spotlight as they can offer valuable insights into patient health, disease tracking, and preventative maintenance. These urge companies to use vast and rich data sets to develop more personalized, cost-effective treatments. Furthermore, the adoption of 5G will allow smart technology and IoT to flourish in the healthcare industry. To put this into context, the wearable tech market was at less than $1 billion in 2017. Today, it's estimated at $59 billion and will grow to a market of $75 billion by the end of the year, according to global data. So last but certainly not least is cybersecurity. A report by Cybersecurity Ventures predicts that global healthcare cybersecurity market will grow by 15% year on year and reach $125 billion over the next 5 years from 2020 to 2025. To put this further into context, the global healthcare spending on cybersecurity will rise from $8 trillion in 2013 to $18 trillion by 2040. What's driving this investment in cyber defense? To put it simply, cyber offense. A vast number of wide-ranging hacks and data breaches launched on hospitals and healthcare providers. Ransomware attacks on healthcare organizations quadrupled between 2017 and 2020 and will grow 5 times that by 2021. Even more daunting, more than 93% of healthcare organizations have experienced a data breach over the past 3 years, and 57% have had more than 5 data breaches during the same time frame. So in terms of key solutions that will reshape the industry, I'll focus on 3, okay, for the interest of time. And number 1 definitely is telemedicine, okay? Telemedicine and teleconsulting solutions like the ePLDT eHealth, which we will see later on this afternoon, will continue to grow in demand and in the foreseeable future. These solutions don't just rely on conferencing solutions, but offer and should offer a complete end-to-end patient-doctor experience, from scheduling appointments, consultations, prescriptions, payments, and monitoring. Completing this ecosystem will be the inclusion of a healthcare management system and patient record systems. Using telemedicine solutions powered again by a secure and reliable internet connection will allow convenience and efficiency to both the patient and the doctor. The second solution that's currently reshaping healthcare, again, is the remote wearables and IoT in the form of medical grade wearables. These solutions will continue to lessen the need for patients to go physically to the hospitals and clinics and provide a better time efficiency and monitoring from both patient and doctor. With regards to IoT, the use of smart technology in healthcare has been advancing steadily over the past several years, putting powerful devices like smart insulin pens, connected inhalers, asthma monitors, and more in the hands of everyday consumers, allowing them to better manage and address their own health needs, as well as to quickly access help if something goes wrong. With 5G in play, expect solutions like virtual hospitals, wearable biosensors, smart thermometers, and more to be made available to the market soon. The third solution is really cybersecurity. Nothing is more important than hospital records and doctor-patient confidentiality. As more doctors and hospitals look to telemedicine solutions, they must beef up their cybersecurity. Instead of hospitals doing its own and building its own cybersecurity team, thus incurring additional expenses, there are available managed security solutions out there. By leaving the cybersecurity to the experts, crisis management will be more efficient, and hospitals can devote their resources to its primary function, which is save lives. In the past few years, ePLDT has been investing heavily on cybersecurity, and what you see here is an actual picture of our SOC. Today, we offer cybersecurity services and consultations across all industries to help our clients protect, predict, and respond to cyber threats. So if there is one sector in our labor force that has been tried and tested physically and mentally since 2019, it's the healthcare industry and the healthcare workers. They are our front line in this pandemic, standing between us and COVID-19. Despite the shortages, frustrations, and lack of support flanking them from all directions, they continue to stand strong. Across all industries, we have seen companies, both big and small, rise from the uncertainty and come back stronger. We have learned from the losses and failures by evolving and adapting to this new normal. We hope that the solutions that you see here today and in our future online forums will enable you and your business to rise above and stay bold, brave, and unbreakable during these unprecedented times. So this eHealth forum is just the first of many of PLDT's industry enterprise online forums. And here's a glimpse of what's to come. Again, thank you and good afternoon.
The difference between mankind and other species is our ingenuity. Throughout history, we've learned to invent and reinvent for the better. From the way we learn, transact, consume, care, and serve, adversity allows us to transform. Sure, industries will live and die, but it beckons us to begin again, to live again. Just open your eyes and see.
Thank you for that presentation, Luigi. That was great. And you did raise some very interesting points. So again, guys, if you have some questions that you want to address to Luigi, please note them down because we will be having a Q&A after these sessions. So without further ado, I'll give you a taste of what's going to happen next. We will be diving right into PLDT Enterprise's suite solutions for the eHealth industry and present how these technologies can help improve your operations with CU Doc and Smart, as well as witness how these innovations make an impact on St. Luke's College of Medicine. So let's all welcome our Industry Solutions Manager of ePLDT, Mr. Paul Inocencio. Good afternoon, Paul.
Last year probably is the most ironic year. It's so ironic that saying you are positive has become so scary, and the word negative, a word we hope for. Working means staying at home. Being healthy means staying away from the hospital. With all these rapid changes happening around us, how can we ensure that technology can be an ally in the new normal? We'll find out more about that later today at PLDT Enterprise's first ever industry online forum for eHealth. To start, allow me to provide you a glimpse of the landscape so we can see both the problems and the opportunities. We have seen that out of 1,400 hospitals, public and private, there are only a handful of level 3 hospitals which are capable of addressing all kinds of scenarios. 55 of those are in NCR. With this, how can we ensure that all 104 million Filipinos can access the services of such hospital? On the other hand, we also witnessed the greatest increase in mobile interaction via the internet at 173 million connections in January 2020 alone. Take note that while the physical infrastructure is limited, there is an overwhelming volume of patients that can access and use the internet. Welcome and thank you to everyone joining us here today. I hope you are all staying safe, sanitized, and practicing social distancing if needed. Truly, these times are funny and sad mixed together. No matter what industry you are in, business, education, technology, we really felt the strong and deep impact of the pandemic. One of the sectors that I would say took the biggest hit would be the healthcare sector. The harsh reality of the pandemic is that due to the high number of patients battling the virus, hospitals are also faced with problems of pushing their capacity and resources to the limits. Meanwhile, a consequence of controlling the spread of the virus is increased restriction, which then kills revenue streams. Finally, patients are left alone, and the numbers will continue to grow if industries do not respond. That is why there is a need for eHealth solutions today that can provide healthcare for all. eHealth solutions help us make sure that each Filipino who is in need of medical attention, no matter where they are, has easy access to quality healthcare services such as consulting a doctor or receiving that needed prescription, all without leaving their homes. Now, we can achieve this if we focus all our efforts in realizing these three key objectives. One, making sure that healthcare has safer and wider access. Number two, better patient outcomes. And number three, efficient and safe healthcare systems. Now, eHealth comes in with three solutions ecosystem that addresses these three pillars, namely telemedicine, hospital management system or the HMS, and the electronic medical record or your EMR. And these below are the corresponding solutions under the three major pillars of eHealth. Telemedicine is very much needed today. We need contactless provision of quality services that ensures privacy, security, and also productivity for both the expert and patient. With our eHealth telemedicine, no distance is an issue. Through telemedicine, professionals and institutions can connect and collaborate with patients whenever or wherever. This includes the ability to issue electronic prescription, able to get online payments using the same platform, and more important, compliance to government and industry standards. Some of the features of the application are hospital or clinic calendar access. Of course, with this access, you will be able to do advanced booking or scheduling in advance. Also provided are advanced notification for queuing management. You can be reminded whenever you want it to be reminded. There's also online payment availability, digital laboratory referrals and the like, and of course, collaboration between peers. Tougher times require unbreakable resolve to ensure success. This is why the industry needs eHealth telemedicine today. Number one, this solution takes care of both the practice and the business, allows you to monitor and get reports of your business in terms of transaction history and the details of it. Second, it's also very important that while we introduce the new normal, we should also make it easier, more convenient, as this solution introduces a new world of convenience and efficiency to both expert and patient that crosses the geographical boundaries. And lastly, also very important, compliance to standard. It's also very important that we secure personal information being used during the consultation and can only be accessed by authorized persons. Here at PLDT Enterprise, you can access telemedicine through our recently launched partnership with CioDoc and the rest of the solutions under ePLDT Smart and PLDT Enterprise. Let's make our capabilities future positive. Contact your PLDT RMs and AMs now. Now, to further understand what CioDoc can do for us, I have it installed in my smartphone so I can show it to you guys. Okay, so right now I'm gonna take my phone. I'm gonna open the application. So right away, so you're gonna see the home page. We're in, of course, since blanco pa, there's no notifications. You can see. Unless there are notifications, you would see right away. So I'm gonna go to the profile to the lower right. So in this particular area, you will see your profile. Now, since there's no profile yet, I haven't registered, so we won't see anything. But there you have it. So there's a bunch of useful items listed. If you want to go to notifications, if you wanted to see your settings, your credit points, of course, you have e-wallet. Now I'm gonna go to my particular office. I'm pretending to be a doctor. So the name of the office is PLDT Clinic under PLDT Hospital. I'm gonna click right to hospital. So right away, it's very convenient. You can see appointments. You can see patients. You can see any feedback coming from your patients or your set of availability. So for appointments, for example, if I'm gonna click an appointment, Of course, there's no upcoming appointment, but I can view also the past. So for example, for a patient, there's Molly and Lorenzo. This is approved. If I wanted to click this particular appointment, so right away you can see the profile of the patient. So there's patient record, and then there's other details you can see. So right away you can cancel the appointment or reschedule if it's ahead of time. So I'm gonna exit. So again, if the patient is requesting for an appointment, you can see it in the notifications. So for patients, you can also see the encountered patients. So here with Molly, I can see appointment history, video call log. So this is very useful for doctors and practitioners. So going back, so I can also check for appointments. So right away, you can view your calendar and you can see all the appointments upcoming. So you can play around, you can check. Again, going back to clinics. So I'm gonna click PLDT. So there's a plethora of very helpful tools you can play around and you can use. Again, your patients can see whatever it is that you are writing in your profile. So for example, in practitioner info, so you can write and confirm everything that is needed to be known about you as a doctor or as a licensed practitioner. So without any fuss, this is a very simple solution, very helpful, very straight to the point, easy to navigate. So lastly, I wanted to show you this particular capability for the teleconsult. So let's assume that this is still an upcoming schedule. You will see right away from Molly. So you can view. So right away, there will be a button to your lower right to right away proceed to the call if this is ahead of time. But since this is past, this is recorded already. So this is a very simple solution, but this solution answers today's problem for the healthcare. So I'm going back now to the homepage. So it's very simple. At a glance, it provides everything that you need to know: the upcoming schedule, incoming schedule, any notification. You could view the patient's history, and as well every document the doctors or any doctors in your hospital are putting in the profile of your patient. So once again, I invite everyone watching this particular presentation to consider enabling your hospital, enabling your practice to be able to reach your customer regardless of time and distance. So I'm stopping the recording now. So there you have it. So if you have more questions or any ideas you'd like to try, please contact your RM, your AM. They are waiting for you as we speak. Now that you have an idea on how the platform works, let's now listen to Dr. Maya of St. Luke's College of Medicine on how telemedicine is indeed needed today. Hi, Dr. Maya. Thank you for joining us today.
Hello. Hope you're having a good day, and thanks also for having me.
What were the biggest challenges that your organization faced last year during the onset of the pandemic?
It seems like it's been so long. It's almost a year since this whole crisis started. So our very first challenge was how to ensure service continuity. In the industry, you'd probably call it business continuity. But our mandate as a school, and I represent the St. Luke's Medical Center College of Medicine, our main mandate is to be able to continue teaching our students to prepare them to become the health professionals of the future. So last year, our schools had to close, and we were faced with the challenge of how to continue teaching our students given the fact that nobody was prepared to go online at short notice. But thankfully, we did have some preparations that were in place because we were already talking about, how to continue teaching in a short-term disaster situation. we had piloted this during the Taal eruption, and we were able to achieve yung goal namin of 0 lost learning days. So that was our first goal, to have 0 lost learning days. But of course, as the pandemic continued, it got a little bit more difficult because as we have all learned, over the past year, that this particular disaster, because of the uncertainty, because of the length of time, the changes that have really been instituted, this is really different from anything that we had experienced before. And so the next challenge was how to be constantly able to recalibrate and adapt, particularly given the needs of our stakeholders. So our stakeholders being students and faculty, they were having difficulty with infrastructures, hardware, software, connectivity, and we had to be able to be flexible and be able to communicate constantly with them and include them in the conversation as to how really we can continue doing what we need to do and still stay compassionate and still stay flexible given the varying needs of our stakeholders.
What do you think are the good impact of having technology partners such as PLDT Enterprise to the practice of this kind of profession?
Mm-hmm. So in technology enhanced education, we have the concept of what's called the iron triangle. So this iron triangle, it links cost, quality, and access. Particularly when you're talking about technology, we all know that technology requires a large startup investment cost. So partnership with CUDOC, and this has actually happened. I mean, this isn't something that we invented, but that over the decades of educational use of technology, similar partnerships have also happened in other settings. And this is a way for us to address the startup technology cost so that we can ensure quality, be able to use the technology for the educational purpose and not have to drive up the cost of education. And that was a very, very important thing that we, continue to ensure access or accessibility of medical education because we don't want education to become so expensive that it becomes inaccessible because then we would lose the opportunity to produce more medical graduates to serve the needs of our country.
Thank you, Doc Maya, for that very insightful, that very informative insight you've provided, and we hope to see more of this insight from the likes of leaders like you. Thank you again, Doc Maya, and see you soon.
Thank you very much for this opportunity to share.
Thank you. Moving on to our next section, I want to dive into 2 other components of eHealth: Hospital Management System or HMS and Electronic Medical Record or EMR. With HMS, institutions who once suffered with depleted resources can now conveniently manage, practice, and organize their business. This means access to online payment gateways, finance, and debit automation, hospital asset management, and systems integration. Today, tools like the AGS SAP Evolve make this a possibility. Finally, with Healthcare Medical Record or EMR, extracting data is now faster, and professionals can now make better decisions through the patient's data pool. This includes records, analytics, and intelligence. Salesforce Health Cloud and CareSpan makes this accessible to institutions and professionals today.
We have a healthcare system that costs too much and does too little. The industry and the country is going to demand that we do more faster for our patients and for our families. The fundamental breakdown in healthcare is coordination, collaboration, and communication.
It's not just the doctor or the nurse or the pharmacist or the social worker. The patient is an equal partner.
What's remarkable is how poorly we connect patients and providers to actually practice as a team.
It's dealing with a variety of technologies and having to look in various places for different pieces and parts of information around what a member may be experiencing.
In many ways, your bank knows more about you and where you are than the healthcare system, which is crazy.
We have to think differently about innovation and the application of technology.
Technology's led the way in other industries. We've got to make sure that technology is seen as a real partner for healthcare.
We need to look for a new platform, which is where customer relationship management comes in.
CRM is a great unifier that brings together this community of caregivers so that there's complete fluidity of information sharing.
The integration of EHR information, claims information, credit information, environmental information is all relevant to better patient outcomes.
It equips our associates with a 360-degree view of what's going on with that member. And what that does is that builds trust.
If we can leverage technology and bring people together so that patient relations are managed in a more intelligent and holistic way, we're not going to bend the cost curve, we're going to break it.
If we meet them where their health is, will result in overall lower total cost.
And if you can lower costs, improve outcomes, and make people happy, it's a pretty good business value proposition.
We chose Salesforce because Salesforce was the first step, and it was an important first step.
We're leveraging Salesforce to make sure that patients are informed and they're engaged directly, empowering them, if you will, to help themselves heal.
Now that we've established the significance of telemedicine, HMS and EMR, we are one step closer to achieving healthcare for all. We hope that these solutions will shape the future of our healthcare industry. Soon, we will be able to reach more, service more, cure more, and be more with eHealth. Allow me to introduce Noel Del Castillo, CUDOC CEO, to share how the CUDOC partnership with PLDT Enterprises was born. I'm gonna call Noel. Hi, Noel. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Paul. Thank you for having me here.
What made you decide in the creation of this eHealth platform? Specifically, what pain points did the CUDOC aim to address?
So when we started CUDOC, we really want to make healthcare accessible for all, starting with the experience of the patients. So me as a patient, most of the time when I go have a checkup with a doctor, I spend 2 to 3 hours, both travel and waiting time, just to go visit with a doctor for, let's say, around 15 to 30 minutes. And because of that inconvenience, we felt that there has to be a way to solve this through technology. This is where CUDOC was born.
Well, speaking of these technological capabilities and the reason behind it, what is something unique about CUDOC that is very relevant to this changing times? Can you share some cases?
Sure. So the good thing about CUDOC and what makes it unique, as a telemedicine platform, it allows hospitals to be part of this growing industry. So let me show you an example. So for example, if a hospital would like to have their own telemedicine platform, they can have an account in CUDOC and create their virtual clinics or within their hospital account. And having their own virtual clinics in CUDOC, they can onboard their doctors so that the patients that goes to their hospitals can book appointments for online consultations and for clinic visits. So the good thing here is that since we are able to process the payments of the patients on behalf of the doctor and hospitals, we have a comprehensive auto disbursement system that processes the payments of the patients for the and disperse it to the doctor, to the clinic, and to the hospital. That's what makes us very unique now in this industry.
Yes, and indeed, it seems that there are very few, if not you're the only one who can really enable that type of strength towards the hospitals and doctors. Now, how has having a partner like PLDT Enterprise help you in critical times such as this?
Oh, PLDT really help us reach our goals. So for CU Doc, our vision is to make healthcare accessible for everyone in the Philippines. And with the help of PLDT, we are able to reach from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. So the good thing here is that, hospitals, clinics, and doctors, even though they have their own system in place, sometimes there's need to be addressed in terms of internet connectivity, in terms of devices, and all of these things. We need a partner who can provide this, that is integrated with our system, and at the same time what's the same goal of improving the healthcare industry. And this is where PLDT comes in, and we're very fortunate that we're one of the partners of PLDT to be able to improve the healthcare industry in the Philippines.
Well, likewise, we are very also fortunate to have found a very amazing technological partner such as CEDOC. Again, thank you, Noel, for joining us, and we look forward to seeing more innovations in our partnership in the future. Thank you, Noel. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
I think my friend from Smart, Eula, is joining us today. I want to share with her the good news about CEDOC, and let's see what she has for us. Hey, Eula, how are you?
Hi, Paul. What's the latest?
We're good. We're good. Well, as you know, we've been adapting to everything that's been happening lately. And one of that is providing a very credible means of access to healthcare services. This allows us to reduce the risk of getting infection between doctors and patients.
This is very timely, Paul. How will it work?
Well, you see, we've been working with amazing partners. And one of them is CEDOC, a very promising startup company, healthcare software company. So it has a very promising solution, telemedicine solution that allows proper communication and collaboration between doctors and patients. Everything that the doctors doing are being done only through their mobile phone, and it has been very helpful.
I see. That's great news. Well, with smart machine-to-machine SIMs or the Smart Bro plans, actually doctors, nurses, and hospital or clinic owners who need connectivity will be able to connect with their patients. So how will it work? If you have the eHealth app, they can access it with their M2M mobile plans or their Smart Bro tablet plans. And, they can choose whichever device they want to use it with.
Right, indeed, that's very timely and very needed. Of course, with the help of Smart, online consultation would be very easy. E-prescriptions are done easily, and of course, reservations are more organized.
So yeah, the doctors and the nurses, especially the patients, they don't have to go to the hospital or clinics or to be outside and exposed so that they could provide and receive care. So we can surely support you with this, Paul. With Smart, they will be connected anytime, anywhere. And if you know of any doctors or nurses who need connectivity, just give us a call.
All right, and that sounds promising and amazing. Looking forward to it, Eula, and of course, with Smart. Thank you again,
Eula. Thank you.
Stay safe.
Take care. Bye.
And there you have it, everyone. Once again, thank you for joining us today, and I hope we all pick up valuable lessons about eHealth and their importance in our current situation. The future of eHealth in our country is positive. The good one, I mean. Please expect more innovations to help everyone in need of healthcare, especially during these changing times. Until then, we will continue to face challenges head on and keep on being bold, brave, and badass. Remember, you are unbreakable.
All right, what a great presentation. So I hope that segment was informative for all of you as it was for me. Thank you again to our partners from Smart, from St. Luke's College of Medicine, and of course from CU Doc for all your insights. So now that you, our viewers, have developed a deeper understanding of the latest innovations and digital solutions to transform your businesses, it's now time for us to entertain our questions.
Key in your questions, comments, and suggestions via the chat.
Right, so allow me now to introduce you to our distinguished panelists, starting with Dr. Jose Rene de Grano. He is the president of the Private Hospitals Association of the Philippines, or PHAPI. Hello, Dr. Rene. We also have Dr. Malaya Pimentel Santos. She is the Associate Dean and Head of the Medical Education Unit of St. Luke's College of Medicine. Hello, Dr. Maya.
Hello.
We also have Noel Del Castillo, founder and CEO of CU Doc. Hi, Noel.
Hi, everyone.
We have Luigi Casas, a Vice President and Corporate Relationship Manager Head or Management Head rather, of PLDT Enterprise. Hello, Luigi.
Hi, Sean. Good afternoon, everybody.
And last but not the least, we have Nino Valmonte, the Director of Marketing and Digital Innovation of IPC and Head of Cloud Apps and Industry Solutions of ePLDT. Hello, Nino.
Hello, good afternoon.
Right. So to all our virtual live audience and viewers, please engage with us by submitting your questions in the digital form, pasted via the chat box, and get a chance to win a Samsung tablet with an S Pen and also a free website landing page and customization sponsored by CU Doc. All right, so before we get into the serious part, let's have a little icebreaker to allow us to loosen up a little bit, and let's do this fast talk. Are you guys familiar with this? I was just saying, this kind of reminds me of a segment in The Buzz. All right, so the mechanics are really simple. Each of you will be asked a question by me, and you are going to respond as fast as possible. Okay, so get ready, guys, because the first question is this. If you were to describe your business or company as a color, what color would it be? Dr. Rene.
Green.
Green. Okay, Noel.
Blue.
Okay, green and blue. Should we ask them why? Okay, maybe later. Next question. What is the activity that you thought you could not do until the lockdown finally happened? Doc Maya.
Let hundreds of people into my home virtually.
Hundreds of people. All right, Nino, what about you?
Come to work in shorts.
I wonder how many of us, out of the 6 of us on screen right now, are wearing shorts. All right. Okay, one question for Luigi. How many items have you purchased online this pandemic? It's been almost a year.
Ooh, I think too many to count. Too many.
To count? All right, I bought, I also cannot count, definitely more than 50. So there, we're going online now, and it's just really, really very, very timely. So I just want to hear, Dr. Rene, why green in one sentence?
Well, doctors usually have green minds. Not really what you think, ecologically speaking, green.
All right, and Noel, why blue?
Well, it represents life and health, stability.
Okay, I like those answers, and they're also 2 of my favorite colors. So again, quick reminder to our live audience and our viewers, please engage with us by submitting your questions in the digital form that is posted via the chat box and get a chance to win a Samsung tablet with S Pen and also a free website landing page and customization. All right, I'll kick off the Q&A by asking Dr. Rene this question. Of course, Dr. Rene, you're with the Private Hospitals Association of the Philippines. How have your member hospitals adopted to the new normal? Of course, there's remote work, there's new techniques, I'm sure. And what were the biggest problems that you encountered that were encountered by hospitals under the pandemic?
Well, hospitals were able to, adapt quickly First, because we have no choice but to do it. And also, we have to find ways to communicate. Otherwise, there will be no interaction. In terms of financial problems, of course, the perennial delayed funding from PhilHealth, coupled with very diminished admissions, have put the resources of the hospitals down to almost what they call as hand-to-mouth existence or isang kahig isang tuka. We have decreased manpower mainly because a lot of staff, especially nurses, opted to take vacation leave, go overseas, and some we have to furlough or give forced leaves because of low admissions. And because of this, while it is lamentable, most of our hospitals decrease their authorized bed capacity to 50% or less.
All right, thank you for that answer, Luigi. This next question is for you. How can the telecommunications industry help the healthcare delivery system after the pandemic or even now as we adapt to the new normal?
I think in three main ways. Number one, I think is always going to be in the forefront is connectivity, right? I think we've all mentioned it here this afternoon. The connectivity is a very, very important part, not just in the telemedicine or teleconsulting, but also in the managed services realm. But number two, I think we have to stop thinking of our telco providers as just providing telecommunications. For example, PLDT is not Philippine Long Distance Telephone Company, right? We are PLDT Inc. now, and we have been for a couple of years. And what that means is we don't just offer telco services, but we offer end-to-end fully managed services. And then the aim of that is really to take the problems of IT out of your hands and give it to the experts so you can focus on your core competency, which in this case for healthcare is really to save lives. And then lastly, I know we have some IT partnerships brewing specific to vaccine dispersal. So that's something that I think we can look forward to in the coming months.
Right. Let's just dovetail off of your answer, Luigi. I'm going to ask Nino this next question. Nino, will EPLDT also be coming up with solutions to help with vaccine dissemination? This is, of course, the hot topic nowadays.
Well, as Luigi had mentioned, we're working very hard with our partners and to develop new, solutions that work, simple and effectively, that really are to address the challenge of disseminating vaccines, and we're looking to get this out as soon as we can to support the ongoing initiatives.
All right. Noel, I'm going to ask you this next question. Of course, Noel, you're the founder and CEO of CU Doc, and I heard CU Doc's main objective is to make healthcare accessible to all, especially for those who have spent a long time traveling just to get to the nearest hospital. Now, given all the technological capabilities of your app, can you share with us some inspiring stories of patients or even some other use cases maybe of doctors using your app?
Thanks for the question. I like to share an inspiring story of a patient and a doctor. Mommy Lay is a patient that we helped last December. She is an entrepreneur and a mom. Her husband and 2 kids got sick at the same time with very high fever. There was a time they are planning to spend a vacation. She spent more than 3 days of chilling nights taking care of her family. Imagine the stress of being alone, taking care of her family. At the time, it is scary to go to the hospital due to COVID. A friend of her recommended CU Doc, in which she was able to consult online with Doc Leia, who issued her a diagnosis and lab request. She was then able to avail of a home service lab test that identified the sickness as dengue. With medication, telemedicine, and home care, her family was able to recover from the sickness within 5 days. She was very thankful of our help that she even shared her story in her Facebook. Another story I like to share is the story of Doc Vanilla, a chief resident at OB/GYN Department of Amang Rodriguez, a public hospital in Marikina. Due to the pandemic, their OPD department was closed for walk-in patients. All consultations were moved through their telemedicine program using Facebook. One of the big problems they encounter is that they can't cater to more than 20 consultations per day. Despite having a pool of doctors to accommodate many patients per day, Facebook can't manage to provide that feature. She approached us last October seeking for a solution. Within a few days, we created an online clinic for their department and provided trainings for their team to manage their clinic. After launching their new telemedicine program, they were able to cater to more than 50 online consultations per day and distribute them evenly with their medical team. I was truly impressed with their dedication to take care of their patients during these difficult times.
Thank you for sharing that lovely story with us. Dr. Maya, I have one last question for you. What is the role of the academe in the changing health landscape? Of course, we keep talking about doctors and nurses and frontline workers, but they gotta go to school before all of that. Can you share us your experiences?
Thank you so much for this question. I feel that the academe should always be part of the conversations in the industry. As physicians, we take an oath of service to humanity. But as physician educators, our task is to prepare the future physicians to take their place in the future landscape. And almost overnight, as we all know, the landscape has changed. So there has been an accelerated adoption of technology in every industry. And healthcare is no different. eHealth, mobile health, telehealth, teleconsultation, telemedicine, all of these forms of technology-enhanced delivery of service have to be closely mirrored in education, because we cannot simply leave our medical students to figure these things out on their own. But we actually need to be deliberate in the way we teach them the knowledge, the skills, and the attitudes to be able to practice medicine in the digital age of the future. So as a means of preserving high quality and effective education for medical students, we have instituted what's called clinical augmentation. And there are many components to this, but among other things, our physician teachers were able to do virtual rounds with their patients and their students. They were able to do virtually observed procedures using GoPros in order to allow the students to observe the procedures. And of course, telemedicine is one very important component of this. So before COVID, telemedicine was already there, but it was not mainstream. However, because of COVID, all of us saw the benefits of being able to use telemedicine to safely address not all, but at least some of the health concerns of our patients without having to meet them in person. And we needed to be able to teach our students how to do a history, how to do a physical exam in the virtual clinic. And so these are just some of the examples of how it's important for us to be part of these conversations so that we can prepare the future physicians to take their place in the workforce. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Maya. Indeed, where would we be without tech and telemedicine and the internet in general and all these apps to help us out? All right, my chat box, aka my cell phone, has been going off the hook. This first question is from our virtual audience. Miss Mirasol Tiu is asking, how soon can you provide the new services mentioned? Are these readily available? And how much cost will it entail for those who want to avail of this? Luigi, I think this is for you.
Well, the eHealth solution that Nino and the team demoed just today, that's actually available now. And there are available pricings already. So if you need to reach out to us, please feel free to reach out to myself or your relationship manager, and they can help you on that.
All right, thank you for that, Luigi. This next question is addressed to you, Noel. This is from our virtual audience member, Anirab Santos, who's asking how a patient can pay for the doctor's fee. Is the payment system integrated? And if they have an HMO card, can they use their HMO cards online or using telemedicine?
So for the patients, they can use their credit card, and the e-wallet providers available now. Um, and the good thing there is that we have a e-wallet system that whenever they pay for certain services, we are already able to disperse those to the doctors, clinics, and hospitals. As for the HMOs, we're still working with that along with PLDT. It's a different payment flow, and so that's something that hopefully in the future we can also provide.
All right, good to hear that you're working on that. I'm sure a lot of people have HMOs and will be using HMOs. All right, our next question is from our live audience. This is from Janelle Dalanon. Hi, Janelle. How are ya? Janelle, you can ask your question.
Hi there. I'm not sure which question that was. I actually asked three questions, but my first question was actually, could we go open source rather than proprietary cloud-based systems, because we have those software or operating systems that are not mainstream. Like we could go Linux, we could go Ubuntu and such, which are not costly. Why should we go into proprietary, which are expensive?
That's a good question. Does anyone from the panel want to take that? So I'm going to ask the question again. I think the connection was rather choppy. Janelle was asking your opinion basically on going offline open source over cloud proprietary. Very technical question. Luigi? Or...
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not sure I understood the question correctly. So you're asking about the value of open source vis-a-vis a proprietary product.
Yes, basically that was the question.
Okay, yeah. So well, as with any open source application, you know, the value would normally be off the bat in terms of support, right? Because with proprietary products, there would be a certain level of support that the provider would be offering. Whereas in terms of open source, you would have to usually rely on a community of users using the same tools to pretty much get the support that you need. And there are no guarantees with that, as you know. But yeah, I guess the difference lies in terms of what sort of assistance that a provider will be able to extend as far as the proprietary applications go. Does that answer the question?
Janelle?
Yeah, that was a very, very good answer to the question. But although I would think that the community would be a better source of, support for the doctors or for the community as a whole.
All right.
Yeah. So you're saying that a community would be a good support group. Well, particularly for doctors, you're saying for the users. Yeah, that's right. No, for the actual end users, a community is always a good source of support in terms of knowing best practices and how to use the products, regardless of whether an application is open source or proprietary. Yes, I would agree that a community of users is always something that's good to have.
That's right. Communities are always, if we're talking about going online and virtually, the community is always everything. Thank you, Janelle, for that question. Our next question, I'll be reading it out because it's from an anonymous asker from our live audience. They want to know whether the telemedicine app runs well with mobile data and does it have an admin side for monitoring purposes? And also, how much is the subscription? I think that's also for you.
Well,
Yes.
I can
So
also, if
yeah,
that's okay.
Okay,
Um,
Luigi?
so it does work well on mobile data. I actually used it. I used this solution just a month ago for an eye consultation actually. And I didn't use Wi-Fi. I was on the road as well. And I don't recommend to do that on on the road. But it works well on Wi-Fi. It works well on 3G, 4G, and 5G as well. And in terms of pricing, we have standard pricing depending on hospital or clinic. And again, if needed, we can always provide that to you guys for through our relationship managers, or please feel free to reach out to me.
Thanks, Luigi. Nino, would you like to add to that?
no, I think that covers it. Yeah, in terms of we would like to, as much as possible, tailor fit a proposal to each and every customer, and it would be good to approach your relationship managers individually to get an idea on the pricing.
All right, we have another anonymous asker from our virtual audience who works in a government hospital, which means that most of their patients are not well off. Now, this system that we are proposing today uses mobile data, which some of them cannot afford, frankly. Can you offer a cheaper way for them to be able to access the system? We're talking about indigent patients here.
I think the system in itself is always customizable. Obviously, we've been talking also to the LGUs. It's not just the system itself isn't just for private use or private owners. So again, it just depends on the specific scenario. So specific to government and LGUs, I know we have a government and LGU team, and they have they do have the eHealth product. So it's tailor fit, and we can customize it to the LGUs and to the public sector as well.
All right, very, very good to hear. The next question is again from Janelle from our live audience. This one goes out to Doc Maya. Janelle, would you like to ask Doc Maya your question?
Again, I'm not sure which question that was, so I'm gonna go on.
It's about the
probably
learning
it was.
difficulties of older generations.
Oh yeah, that's right. Actually, I'm part of the younger generation, probably Gen Y, and so we've got older staff in our hospital, in our medical facility, that would probably be difficult for them to transition from the mechanical and writing portion to traversing into that digital platform. So how long do you think would the training go, and how long do you think they could learn and adapt to the digital platform? Thank you.
I'm not sure if I got the whole question, but I think this was asking about adapting or the learning curve, basically, for how to use technology. Okay, so it's difficult to know where to start because, coming into this, we really know that technology was able to help us deliver services regardless of the industry. But, in addition to the difficulties with infrastructure, that's internet speed, the gadgets, the software, the hardware, I think possibly the most difficult aspect has been the people aspect because as being a digital migrant myself, it hasn't really been easy. And there's this aspect of being afraid to start using certain platforms, no matter what industry you're in. But because of COVID, we all just were sort of forced to be able to use them. It became a choice of not being able to do what you needed to do, or having to learn how to use technology. So I think there's that sort of panic. There's the learning curve. But if you really believe in what you need to do, then you'd be able to find a way to get over the hump of the learning curve. And it hasn't been easy, but we've been able to help each other, support each other somehow. And I think one thing that we kept on telling each other is that we have to be kind. This is not the time to be a perfectionist. This is a time to support each other and to be kind to everyone around you, and also be kind to yourself, and moderate your own expectations also. So thank you.
Very well said. I think this just brings forth, how much we are all works in progress, Doc Maya, and even having
Definitely.
a hard time adapting. Because sometimes, there you someone, maybe it's a platform you're not used to, but we're all adapting and we're all getting there. I think even my mom is more of a techie than I am, using a virtual wallet ahead of me. All right, our next question is also from our virtual audience. Sorry, from our live audience. Roel Ceballos has a question for you, Noel. Roel, do you want to ask that question personally to Noel? All right, Roel, I'll just ask your question. So, Noel, Roel wants to know, your name's Rhyme. What will be the edge of CU Doc compared to other competitors that you might have?
Thank you for asking the question. So, CU Doc is really building towards a holistic, integrated platform. So, one of our key strengths is that we are open to partner with different providers in developing this holistic, secured healthcare ecosystem. The unique value that we have now is that when we develop the telemedicine, we also want to make sure that the stakeholders, these are including hospitals, clinics, doctors, and patients, are all integrated. No one is left behind. And that is our message. It's what we are, since we intend to bring the healthcare experience in the digital world, we are like a partner for hospitals to bring them to the digital world and guide them on how to adopt in a slowly step-by-step scenario. This is what we bring, and this is how we are continue to work in the future. Thank you.
That's right. So also, again, everybody a work in progress as we all struggle to adapt to the new or next normal. All right. This question I'm asking Doc Rene, Doc Maya, and Noel. So the three of you should be able to answer this question. After all the challenges that the healthcare sector has faced in the past year, what makes you guys the most proud to be part of this specific industry, healthcare? The champions of the last year. Doc Maya, do you want to go ahead?
Okay. Thank you for that. So I'd like to make a special shout out to all our medical frontliners who are also teachers. At no other time has their dedication to teaching been more evident than it has been during this pandemic, when they had to find a way to make time and to learn how to teach our medical students with their GoPros, their gadgets, their tablets, despite not being techie. And alongside all their other responsibilities, seeing patients in the hospitals, in the clinics, they were still able to do all this. And they say that behind every successful physician is the patience and love of a dedicated medical educator. So I just like to thank, the community. And more than anything else, this pandemic has been a time for us to reset, to revisit our traditional practice, and reaffirm what we value the most, which is really service to the patients. And in this way, we can also reimagine a better future for both doctors and patients with or without technology. Thank you.
Yes, and thank you also, Doc Maya, for being a teacher and a physician as well. Thank you for helping all of us here. Doc Rene, could we hear from you about the challenges in your sector? But, yeah, and also what makes you the most proud to be a doctor?
Yes, well, first of all, COVID-19 pandemic is a healthcare problem. And being part of the healthcare sector, despite the fact that we lost a lot of our colleagues, families, relatives, and friends, and also patients, with God's help, we are still here, alive, continuing our role and mission of prolonging life, protecting everybody and preventing the spread of the disease. I think let us all get vaccinated. Thank you po. God bless.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Rene, for that reminder about getting vaccinated as well. Noel, do you want to add to that?
For me, I just want to take this opportunity to say that I'm very proud of my team. We have started this journey together 2 years ago with a big dream of making an impact in the healthcare industry. It was a difficult journey. We have sacrificed some personal time to help a patient connect with their doctor, or immediate profits just to help a hospital set up their virtual clinics, or even better opportunities elsewhere because we know the mission's not done. All of us sacrifice in their own way, but it's worth it. Somehow, in small way, we are also able to save lives by helping doctors save lives. And that is what makes us proud in this industry.
That's right. It definitely takes a village, starting with the hospital and all the tech that we need to function healthily in this environment right now under the pandemic. For Luigi and Nino, the guys that are playing support behind the scenes, very, very important. Also, what makes you most proud to be in your industry, which is, of course, telecommunications?
You want to go, or you want me to start?
Go ahead, Luigi. You're ready.
All right. For me, during the pandemic, especially during ECQ, we were very strapped in terms of connectivity, right? And making sure that everybody, and across all industries, right? Doctors, retail, BPO, everybody, all the workers and employees could stay connected and do their jobs from home. So on a telco side and IT side, it fell to us to be the back end, driving force, to keep everyone connected, and also safe, because when you have the secure connection, when you have the secure reliability of mobile or the fiber facility, you don't have to leave your house, right? So I'm proud that we were able to accomplish that, and we're not perfect, but we're gonna get there.
All right, Noel.
No, well, for me, I think what makes me more proud is really the fact that we're actually in the business of supporting and enabling a sector that actually does all the help ever since. And I mean, the healthcare sector has always been there to support everybody, and it's an honor for us to actually this time be able to support them. I think that's something that we bear in mind and every day, and it's great to be able to do whatever it is that we can to help the nation, to help the country, and then the people in general through the healthcare sector as well.
All right, thank you so much again to all our presenters and panelists for spending this afternoon with us. And thank you as well for all that you do to keep us afloat in these really unprecedented times. And to all our audience members, all our viewers, thank you for joining us and tuning in today. PLDT Enterprise will be reaching out to the winners of the Samsung tablet and, of course, that free website landing page and customization. And you will be getting instructions on how to claim your prizes. So just sit tight, we have your information, and we will get in touch with you. But wait, because there's more. You also get a chance to win an iPad just by answering our feedback form. And you do that by clicking on the digital form in the chat box again. Again, one lucky winner will be chosen, and you will be informed via email by a representative of PLDT Enterprise. So before we call it a day, we would also like to solicit a message from the Director of Marketing and Digital Innovation of IPC and Head of Cloud Apps and Industry Solutions of ePLDT. We already know him, Mr. Nino Valmonte.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much for attending, everybody. We definitely appreciate that you gave us some of your time and allowed us to share with you some of the insights that we have. Thanks so much to our speakers and distinguished guests, Dr. Degrano, Dr. Santos, Noel Castillo, of course, Luigi Casas. We definitely appreciate you taking the time out to impart your knowledge and insights with our audience today. So to summarize our discussion today, we heard Dr. Degrano highlight the value of telemedicine, not only in terms of social distancing during the pandemic, but also in terms of supporting patients that may not have the ability to go out, such as the elderly, debilitated, etc. And in turn, we shared PLDT's view on what the digital healthcare ecosystem should be, and we've showcased solutions that address specific pain points that you, the healthcare community, actually identified. We try to deliver a simple solution that addresses critical challenges in the healthcare sector. And as I said, we were very happy to be able to enable and empower you. It's important that we're able to do this and in an operationally efficient and secure manner. And to reiterate what Dr. Santos said earlier about that iron triangle, if I'm not mistaken, that's a balance between cost, quality, and accessibility. That's something that we definitely want to maintain. And it's important to realize the value of telemedicine, not only in times of pandemic, but also in terms of supporting patients that are not able to go to the hospital or the clinic on their own. So in keeping with the objective to save lives, we look back to our key objectives of providing healthcare for all, safer and wider access to healthcare, secure and efficient healthcare systems, and overall better patient outcomes. So we definitely look forward to doing more activities with the Private Hospital Association of the Philippines. Thank you so much, Dr. Degrano. And I guess on the screen we'll be flashing a QR code. If you're eager to get started with eHealth telemedicine, or just want to know more, you can scan this QR code and fill up the form. And from there, we'll be able to get your details, and we will be able to reach out to you. Your relationship manager will be able to reach out and have a discussion with you and see how we'll be able to support you better moving forward. So with that, I'd like to thank you all again. Let's remember, the future of this country and the healthcare sector is indeed positive. Thank you. Good afternoon.
And that's about the only positive we want to hear today. Nina, thank you so much for the closing remarks. Once again, my name is Sean Yao, and this has been eNDUSTRY, an online forum for eHealth by PLDT Enterprise, Smart, and ePLDT. So before we go, again, I'd like to remind everyone to stay safe, sanitize, and practice physical distancing. Good afternoon.